Well, good evening, everybody. The appointed hour has arrived, so I will call the Hastings Planning Commission meeting of Monday, April 7th, 2025 to order. If you'll please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have roll call for the record. Bolthouse, Darling.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Like.
Here.
Mattson.
Here.
McLean.
Here.
Moyer-Kale.
Here.
Tassava.
Here.
Angsorge.
Here.
And Hatfield here. So we do have a quorum present. You have a proposed agenda in front of you. Are there any proposed changes? Not, do I have a motion to approve?
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the agenda. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Likewise, you have a draft of the minutes from our March 3rd meeting. Are there any corrections?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the minutes as drafted. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Information items, we have none. We do have one public hearing tonight to review and consider the Bachman Fields Plan Unit Development and final site plan approval for property located at 900 Bachman Road. Dan, you want to give us an overview?
Yes, thank you. So Bachman's Fields, the planned unit development, in accordance with the ordinance, staff has met with representatives of Bachman Field initially for a pre-application conference. Also, Planning Commission did conduct a preliminary site plan review at a recent meeting regarding the project. There were suggestions and recommendations that the Planning Commission passed on to the applicant. The applicant has made the suggested changes for the most part. The public hearing notice was published in the paper, and notice is sent out to property owners with 300 feet of the subject property in accordance with the ordinance. So tonight will be the final planned unit development and site plan review for the project, which includes 119 detached single-family resident site condominium units with the appropriate infrastructure. So with that, if there's any questions from Planning Commission members, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time. None? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any comments that you would like to offer, Rebecca, before we open the public hearing?
Yeah, just a couple. So as you recall at your preliminary plan review, which was last month, I would only, I think 3 of your sort of conclusions or observations are noteworthy. So the applicant is proposing smaller lot sizes, smaller lot widths, and reduced setbacks, all of which, for the most part, the Planning Commission found acceptable given the density that would result in. However, so that was number 1 that you did. So the applicant sort of took that acknowledgement or blessing forward into this final plan, which was their directive. However, the other 2 comments you made were to give guidance to the applicant in finalizing the review, and one had to do with those lot sizes and widths, and that had to do with the lots along the southern boundary. And you requested that those lots be enlarged to comply with the R1 district standards, which are not present on the rest of the lots, which you thought that was appropriate along the southern boundary, which is essentially lots 1 through 10. What I wanted to draw your attention to is those lots have been increased in width And as a result of that, this development has gone down from 121 units to 119. But the sizes are still smaller than that required in the R1 district. So I'm only identifying that for your review. Your direction was to meet those standards. They did on the width, not on the size. So that will be something that I'm highlighting for you. Secondly, you did comment on the walkway network, and your specific direction to them was that you wanted to see more mid-block connections or mid-block pathways, given the way your ordinance reads. The applicant did go back and increase that number to 6. They had originally provided 4. So they provided 2 additional ones by virtue of adding an additional connection. And so either end of that connection is obviously adding 2 more. And you'll notice in my report that I suggested, in order to better comply with which was really the basis of your direction to provide additional ones, was that you have a standard that wants to see those no less than 600 feet apart. That sort of helps guide as to how many you should have. So in keeping with that, I have made the suggestion in my report that they probably should add a couple of more to better comply with that standard. I made a suggestion as to where those would be, but I only highlight those for your direction. Other than that, the plan is similar to what you saw last month, and to which you offered no direction for revision. So I think they've been responsive in the areas that you noted. I just made a couple of suggestions on maybe additional modifications.
Okay, thank you. Any comments you'd care to make before we open the public hearing?
Good evening, everyone. Mike West with Green Development Ventures, 2186 East Center Avenue in Portage, Michigan. I'd like to thank you again for your consideration. As both Becky indicated, we thought we made the changes that you requested at the March 3rd meeting. There may have been a little confusion on the lot widths. Our understanding was we were to increase the lot width to 75 feet so they met the R1 standard, not necessarily the lot size, because our depth of those lots is somewhat constrained. The only way you get additional square footage, if you will, is if you shift everything to the north 15, 20 feet, which is an entire engineer redesign of the layout. So what we did do is along the south side, as Becky indicated, we lost 2 units, and then we distributed that width across units 1 through 10. So all those meet the R1, underlying R1 standard. The square footage of those lots, I think the smallest one is 8250. So it's 8,250 square feet. The standard in the R1 is 9,900 square feet, I believe. So it's a little bit less than that requirement. We think it's still appropriate. We're talking about 1,000-something square feet difference. We think it's consistent with the transition between these neighborhoods. It's consistent with the Woodlawn Meadows PUD to the west that was approved with 7,700 square foot lots recently. So we're larger than those lots, slightly smaller than the ones along North Street. So that was the first change we made. The other one, which is a little difficult to see up there, especially with my eyes, is the pedestrian sidewalk connection. So what we did, and I'm going to leave here if I can just for a second to show you where we added that. So right here, to connect these 2 cul-de-sac bulbs, we added a sidewalk that goes between units 80 and 81, and then between 63 and 64 to connect those 2 sidewalks, or those cul-de-sac bulbs, in lieu of a connection of the street that we were discussing, I think, last meeting. We think that connection helps, improve the connectivity of the overall project. We did go back and I just like looking at these statistics because, you know, it's a 39-acre site, relatively small, but we did do a measurement of all the sidewalk we have. So sidewalk will be provided on both sides of the entire streets. We have over 2 miles of sidewalk at full development in this property. So there'll be a nice walkable network created. Additionally, those mowed trails in the open space areas add up to about another third of an acre. So you have, between the two sites, you have almost 2.5 miles of walkable sidewalk and/or trails. So we think we're addressing that. If I can speak just briefly about some of the additional, I think, connections that Becky was requesting. I think, again, I'm going to leave it just for a second, just to graphically show you this. I think the first one was between 71 here, down, yeah, right through here, I believe was the first one. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Becky, that's the first one, I believe. Between 71, 72, and 18 and 19. And then if you can go back down here, Dan, I don't know if you're controlling that, up to the top here. The other one was in this neighborhood over here between 75, 76, and then I think it goes down and then out to here to connect those two areas. And we looked at that. I can tell you that we have these in limited other subdivisions. Just to be straight, they're not desirable by the people who live there, typically. The side yard sidewalks that you put along the lot line, a little more tolerable, but along the rear yards, they really don't like it. So we tried to minimize the disruption to the lot. Typically, the cul-de-sac lots are some of your premium lots that people like, and to encumber them with additional sidewalks was just something we thought was not necessary, given the internal sidewalk circulation system that you have. One thing we did talk about late today, and I'm going to do this one more time. What we could do is if you wanted a connection to here, can we slide us a little bit up? Yeah, thank you. Right now, instead of going from here to here, what we can do is we can bring the sidewalk here, over, sidewalk here, and over, connect there, and then out through here. That would give, that impacts 6 lots, the way we look at it. There's 6 lots impacted by that. The problem with this one down here is there's the grading sheet, which is like your second or third sheet, I think. There's some grading issues here, as well as up there. So we have to traverse this sidewalk with some grade change. And we really don't like to do that. And if you look at this little dashed line right here, it says drainage easement. So where we have lots backing up to lots, we usually dedicate a drainage easement to collect rear yard drainage, so we're not flooding people's yards. And all this, if you look at the drainage plan, all of this drainage goes up here, up to the northeast. So if you have a real inundated rain, that's the release for the backyards of these homes. Trying to construct a sidewalk or a walkway over that's very difficult, because you're trying to maintain that drainage way. So the least disruptive to us that would provide an adequate connection here would be 79, 80, between 64 and 65, and then between 92 and 93 to get you out here. That would be our preference as opposed to the other 2 recommendations. Other than that, I don't really have much to add from our conversation in March. If you have any questions, I can answer them now or later.
Okay. The way we'll proceed with this, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to comment may do so. Those comments should be directed to us, not any of the other individuals. And then our developer will have a chance to respond to that, and then we'll have discussion with staff and our consultant. So with that, I will open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to comment, please step to the podium. Let us have your name and address, and please share your thoughts.
My name is Robert Miller. When I go to court, and other people call me Scott. I live at 1100 Bachman Road in the township. And so as my wife and I were looking at the plans, one question we have with the additional traffic is whether the road's going to be paved. We go through cars, because I buy used cars because of income, and going over that dirt road, it, you know, we can get through. We just have to make some repairs now and then. With all those folks there, unless that's paved, that road's not going to handle that. And I'm pretty sure that's factual. I've not researched it, but it really does concern us that that dirt road is going to cost the city money, and the city can't pay it. So I'm wondering how it's going to be paved to support the traffic. And I don't understand some of the terms, because it looks like they call that a pond, or but I'm wondering if that's for is that fenced around that water?
If you like, I can answer it after.
Yeah, we'll provide answers at the end after we
Okay,
get all the
thanks.
questions.
I'm concerned that if it's fenced, it's not a pond, it's a retention area. It seems like the runoff is going to go into the township, and so what are the plans? Does the township I'm not sure legalities on that, and if they're going to be smaller units, then is typical. I'm not sure that's what serves the community best, especially small families. I've had a family of 4 when I went to seminary in 800 square feet. And that's awfully hard for folks to live next to each other. And I think my final question was, if they're condominiums, will there be any rentals in the development? So that it's mixed income? Is it mostly for people who are older, like, I'm an old man? Is it mostly condominiums for people who are aging? And if it's not, I wonder if the commission has considered whether condominiums are a reasonable purchase for new homeowners. We really need housing. I believe the city needs it, so that city's property, that's great. But I hope you all will consider what the needs of the community are, and there's a lot of them. But I think those are my main questions. The last and final thing is I'm really worried that once we get stormwater running down Bachman Road or something, that after 2 or 3 phases of development, we're going to be looking at the city in a struggle with the township. And I'm already concerned, we have a small farm and people are welcome to visit, but all the animals just all at once go towards our place. And we got a right to farm, but we also lose animals to raccoon attacks and disease because they're being pushed out of one area and they go to the back of ours. So the people in township do have, we're involved in this.
Okay,
So,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. We'll try to answer a few of those questions as best we can. Other comments? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And Mike, you want to respond to what of those you can?
I was writing furiously. Let's see if I can read my own notes here. So Bachman Road, pavement of Bachman Road, that's something we discussed very preliminarily with city staff back when we had a pre-application meeting. We do know that that existing section, which is about, I think, 16 or 1,800 feet before you get to our proposed access, is already unpaved. We think we have some solutions that we can discuss with the city through a TIF type of situation, brownfield TIF, some of the new legislation that we could use to help finance that road. Yeah, we haven't had that conversation in detail with the city yet. Our next step is construction plan reviews, where all these things are going to come out: roadway impacts, stormwater, sanitary sewer, municipal water. That would be the next step, is going through that process. So I'm sure that I don't know if anybody else here at City can offer more on the road, but that's what I can offer. In the northwest corner of the property, I believe is what the gentleman was referring to, is that's a stormwater retention basin. Our engineer did preliminary review That's where the natural drainage flow goes. It goes to the northwest and then north through the natural drainage course. They've done preliminary sizing for that basin, and it's sufficient to meet this development, this total development at build-out. It would be our intentions not to fence it unless the city has a requirement for fencing. Generally, we're going to design those so the slopes are less than 3-on-1, I believe, 1-on-3, so that it's a gradual slope. There's not a safety issue. And generally, they're designed to eventually drain. So they collect water, they hold it, and then they detain it for a while, and then it's released through the natural drainage course to the north. There was a reference to the size of the homes. There may have been a little confusion. I think it's really the size of the lots that the gentleman was referring to. Our homes are 3 and 4 bedroom, even 5-bedroom homes in some cases. So the homes are going to be 16 to 2,400 square feet. I think you guys have a sample portfolio of home that we provided earlier. So the homes are going to be sufficient for families. What we're getting is the lot sizes are slightly reduced. And again, the lot sizes are reduced in order in return for the open space. So on that one plan that's all colored up, you can see there's 2 large open space areas. I didn't really talk about it because we talked about it a lot at the previous meeting. It's going to be a large open space area along the western portion of the property, and then that one in the central portion of the property. We're going to try to retain the natural features that are there, which is not much because it's farm field. There's 2 wetland pockets there in the middle that we're going to preserve within that wetland area, or within that open space area. And then the western portion there's a natural tree line. We're going to leave that. And then within those 2 areas, there's 6.3 acres altogether. We're going to do enhancements, and you can see on that landscape plan, we kind of try to graphically show what we're going to do there, because again, it's farm field right now, so when we develop it, we're talking about doing a mixture of wildflower mixtures, planting beds, shrubs, trees, to try to develop that more as a natural area that everybody within the community will have access. Well, we actually will be part owner of it too. There'll be an association, and they'll manage that. So they'll all be part owners, and they'll all have access to that 6.3 acres. The dreaded condominium question, I get that a lot. So I think everybody here knows what we're proposing. So we're proposing a site condominium subdivision, which is just a different way of dividing land. So people know what a plat is. I live in a platted subdivision. A site condominium subdivision is just a different way to subdivide land in Michigan. So whoever buys a home there is going to own the house and the lot that it sits on, just like in a platted subdivision. I think there was one more about wildlife disruption, and we get that a lot too. Again, I don't think we're going to be doing a lot of clearance of, we're not going to be doing any clearance of big wooded areas, so I don't think there's going to be much of an issue with wildlife disturbance, and we're hoping to enhance the areas that we're going to preserve as well. So
Okay.
hope I addressed everything.
Thank you, Mike. So, really, this item flows into new business, which is the review of the preliminary site plan. So, I'll open it up to questions or comments from any members of the commission.
I'll comment. Dan, if you could go back to where he was talking about the sidewalk connection. I do like the sidewalk connection here better than this sidewalk connection, because I feel like there's 3 points there, but that's the only comment I have.
And we talked about that internally. We'd be more than happy to do that, to rearrange it between, what would be 79 and 80, 64 and 65, and 92 and 93, right along that line. There's not a lot of rear yard disturbance there. We think we can manage the drainage. It's the rear yard drainage in that 1 or 2 points where it crosses. It's manageable at that location.
That, to me, I would agree with Jackie that seems to make sense. Rebecca, any thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I just feel like that is more connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. And actually, probably less disruptive.
Yes, I agree.
So it's a win-win
I definitely think
situation.
it's an improvement to what is proposed. I don't think it addresses the problem that the suggestions were intended to, although the drainage traversing notwithstanding, I understand that. So certainly would be open to other suggestions, but they're still dealing with just providing improved walkways and access in the southwest portion of the project. What I had done when I was looking at that, not that there are not a multitude of other ways of dealing with it, is if you look at the project as a whole and your layers away from it, you have to go all the way around to access any of the open space areas or connections to those open space areas. And so that's the point of the 600-foot standard, not that it couldn't be some other number, but I'm saying the idea is that you're trying to make it so that wherever you are in the development, you don't have to walk more than, 600 feet, right, to get somewhere that can cut you through and connect you to ways to get into those areas. And I think just by putting this one mid-block connection in here, you're not addressing the other two areas of the project, which was the point of my comment, is all. But I agree, their alternate is better than what they have there.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? I want to thank you for being responsive to what you've heard the last couple of meetings you've been with us. Chelsea, you had?
What about the idea of the triangulating over to the north-south street? That was something you'd mentioned, correct? Like having a sidewalk off, or is that what you were?
That's what
That's
Jackie
exactly
was
what you were
talking
pointing
about,
out?
right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Reacting favorably to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you were just tracing it down a different path.
No,
between
so it's a
cul-de-sacs.
Y. It becomes a Y.
Yeah, sorry, my drawing wasn't very good.
My vision isn't great. Thank you.
Okay, and we also, just as you saw, we had a preliminary report from Moore and Ruddick, who are consulting engineers, and they've identified a number of issues that will be a part of the continuing approval process, but not germane to the preliminary site plan approval. So, what's your pleasure? We're looking for a motion to approve the site plan.
I'll make the motion to approve the site plan with the revision of the sidewalk. Or the connectivity portion.
Okay.
And accepting the smaller lot size.
And accepting the smaller lot size.
Support.
Okay. It's been moved and supported. Further discussion?
Just as clarification, you're accepting the reduced dimensional requirements because it addresses
It addresses the
width, size, and setbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Sorry.
That's exactly what I
Sorry.
meant.
Yeah. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Mike, thank you very much. We look forward to continuing to move this forward with
I think
you.
we move on next to city council, I think, is the next process.
Yes.
Yes, these are recommendations for
This is a
approval of the
recommendation
PUD
to
and of the
the
site
city
plan.
council.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, old business, JPA, JPC update.
Neither has met.
Neither has met. The JPC, I think, intends to meet next month, since we have a requirement to meet at least 4 times a year. And we haven't met so far this year, so time is flying. All right, work task list. Dan?
Yes, bullet item number 2, review section 90-A3B4. That was adopted by City Council ordinance number 629. That was completed on March 24, 2025. So for the upcoming month, that will be removed from the work task list.
Any questions for Dan?
I see our science mint gone now on the development down on West 8th Street.
You're getting ahead of me.
All right, I was just so excited because I saw it
Yeah.
wrong the other day.
I don't want to cut you off, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
So for the site plan tracker, EWB, the second site plan on the list, the monument sign would be on the northerly side of the building, has been removed, so the conditions required in the site plan have been met effective March 31st, 2025.
Once again, any questions for Dan? All right, open public discussion and comment. Molly, it's down to you.
I'm all good.
Okay. John?
No comment.
Okay. Staff comments. Dan?
I'm going on vacation.
Yes, I am, but that's not the comment I want to make. So I've apprised both the chair and vice chair. As many of you know, up on, I believe it's 220 West Colfax, East Colfax, that's the site of a former church facility and most recently a dentist office. As some of you might be aware, there's a local citizen, a very benevolent one, that it will be converting that into kind of an educational area museum. I was in conversation with a representative of the property owner on Friday and let them know that any type of public or institutional use, such as an educational center or museum, would require site plan and special use permit and site plan approval by the Planning Commission. So I do have the drawings of the building when it was converted back in 2003 were delivered to my office on Friday. There'll be no footprint changes to the building. There will be a total remill and resurface of the of the parking lot due to existing drainage issues that were kind of completed once the dentist office was open. So it does require some rework to help with the stormwater runoff on that site. So I just, at the pleasure of the chair, I would like the possibility, if I do receive an application for site plan review and special use permit in enough time to get this noticed in the paper for the, I believe, May 5th meeting, that I have the Planning Commission's acknowledgement that that's okay to do. So.
So we're really looking for a conditional authorization to set a public hearing. If you'll leave it to my discretion, if we get all the required materials and we get it in time to provide appropriate public notice, that we'll go ahead and set it. Otherwise, it'll probably see it next month. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Okay, thank you so much.
You can go back on vacation now.
Okay. Friday morning at 7 a.m.
I don't want to know what time, just get out of here. Have fun, Dan.
Any commission comments?
I do have a comment. Sarah, did you say that at one point there was maybe some professional development funds for the Planning Commission? Yeah. Okay, so I have taken the MSU Extension Citizen Planner course, and if you haven't done that yet, I highly recommend it. It's very good at explaining, our purpose of sitting here, and I don't think it's a huge cost, but I think they do it online, so you can do it at your own pace, and I thought it was very educational, even though I've been sitting here for as many years, I don't even know how many years, but I encourage all of you, if you haven't done it yet, to take a look and get with Sarah and maybe ask if there's some help with supplementing the cost.
Yeah, Dan, can you find some information on that and email it out to all the commission members?
Yes, I will.
That'd be great, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Scott?
I'm good.
Mayor?
Nothing to say, is that unusual?
Yeah.
Yes, let the minutes show.
Unless you're talking about me.
Yeah, well,
Just gotta pick on you, Dan.
Yeah. Okay, enjoy the rest of your spring break.
I did have one comment, and it has to do with the old dentist office up on Colfax Street. I was on Commission on Aging with the owner of that property, and he's got some great plans for that. You know, his collection of all his memorabilia from plays and movies and all that, I think Terry's gonna do a great job up there. It's gonna be called Off-Broadway, meaning, you know, he's a half block off Broadway. So
That's great.
it's
I
gonna
love it.
be really neat.
Perfect.
It
Yeah.
is.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing from me.
And nothing here. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all. Not bad for a public hearing.
Yeah.